Hi, everyone. Good morning. This is Heather Coleman, your intuitive medium and spiritual guide, bubbling with excitement for all that we've got to talk about today, and slowed down, which is hard being in Aries, especially now that we're in Aries, and have all my little notes here. So really glad that you're all here with me. So we're going to talk about these concepts and how they relate together of synchronicity, flow, and co-creation. And so before we get into a little bit more about what those are, because some of you might know, some of you might not know, first we want to establish where we're coming from. Now, so the first concept here is that we all have a soul. So there is an aspect of us that is a spirit, which is a soul that has actually come into a body on a physical human mission. Now, why do we do that? It's for soul perfection, for soul advancement, and for many of us who are called light workers, it's to help planet Earth in its development and to shine a light for others who maybe haven't learned certain things just yet. And lots of like semi-advanced souls are here to learn their own lessons and to help spur other people to learn their lessons as well. So we come into this vehicle, this human body, on a mission. And many people say we do so many times. I am on life number 52 out of a 52 life series. Some people have had a lot more. They've had hundreds or thousands of lives here on Earth. So coming from that standpoint that we're here on a human mission, as soul incarnate, as a human, we make a roadmap before we come here. Hi, Franca. How are you? We write up a life chart, a life plan with our angels and a team called the Council. It's a team of 12 fixed up to 18 floating guides, very wise, quite advanced souls that help us put together a detailed roadmap. And so what happens is some people say it's written, some say it's a 3D hologram, depends on the soul, but we actually put together a blueprint, a map, and a chart that is going to be, we can also think of it as a movie. I prefer to think of it as a movie or a play that we write. So as you may imagine, our charts do overlap with other people that are going to be close or even not that close, maybe classmates, acquaintances, right? Now, so we do indeed have this script or this life chart, this life map. We come here and we have forgotten it. Why this amnesia? Okay, why do we come here as a baby having no idea that we're actually this soul who's been here, a lot more years than we're thinking, and that we have this map? Why have we forgotten it? Because to learn the lessons that we are here to learn, we need to do. We have to actually be there and do and choose, because free will says that we're going to be given these choices. Now, yeah, we've kind of orchestrated them ahead of time. Yes, we have, with wise beings. But when we're going to come to that fork in the road, we've got to make that choice given what we know and kind of test ourselves, see what we're made of when we're given a tough choice. So basically, we could almost think of this as being an improv actor, where we've got a scenario set up and we have an idea of what the scene is, who we are, what role we're playing, what's going to happen, who we're going to meet, but we don't have a tight script written. We might figure out how to say certain things or how to approach certain things or how to deal with certain things or which opportunities to pursue. So understanding that we have a blueprint and we have a movie script or a movie play, however we want to put it. Synchronicity, specifically, is being in a state of balance with that chart. Because as we've said, we don't get to see the entire chart. Again, that would be sort of like cheating and would defeat the purpose of being here in vehicle. Another way to think of this is we can read the driving manual and take a quiz at the DMV and get 100%, but that doesn't mean that when we are at an intersection and someone pulls out in front of us, are we going to remember what to do? Or if someone didn't see us and they didn't stop on time driving. So when we get into a flow, now what's a flow? It's a state of acceptance, trust, faith, and manifestation, or what we call co-creation. All these things go together. What is co-creation? I think of co-creation is, I'm going to create the life I want that's in line with this plan, this movie that my soul, my higher self wrote that I don't get to see. And really, that in and of itself, if we really think about this, has to do with this lesson of faith. It's like we've kind of planned this life that's scary but safe, but we don't really know how. It's really bizarre. So how do we know that we are making the right choices without knowing? Yeah. Synchronicity is things that seem like a coincidence, but are a bit more than a coincidence. And I'm going to get into that now, as well as signs and a state of flowing with the universe. And again, co-creating is, I'm going to get right into that in terms of my own career. Actually, first I'm going to give you an example. I was a senior in college, so I would have been at this time just turned 22. So this was just a couple months before graduating college. And I was applying to different graduate schools. Now, one of them was the college I was already at. So if I had chosen to go to Syracuse University, I would have stayed right in the Syracuse area. I was also applying to the University of Georgia and a couple of other schools as well. Well, this was about March, maybe April-ish. So I hadn't heard back from all the schools yet and didn't know where I was going to be, but I knew I was going to be going to graduate school. And I just, for a few weeks during that time, had been having these little thoughts of, I've never dated a younger guy. That might be a really nice experience to date someone who's younger than me for a good few weeks. And what I would notice is I'd run into guys that were a couple years younger. I was like 22. I would run into someone maybe 19 and think, that's kind of nice, just noticing these people in different ways. Sure enough, after that was going on for 2 to 3 weeks, I did meet a guy that was 18, almost 19, and dated for probably a couple weeks. It didn't last that long. And again, when we want to look at synchronicity, is that kind of sad that it didn't last that long? Maybe, maybe not. Because a month after that brief relationship ended, I got the answers back and made my decision that I was going to Georgia. So I was going to be going far away. Now, this is what I'm saying about synchronicity. So look at all these signs. One, I just had been getting these little thoughts of, it would be a really nice experience to date someone younger. Met someone younger. Why didn't it last long? Is it just because we were younger? We were different ages? Well, sure, maybe. I mean, this guy was just getting ready to start college, right? And I was ending college, but I was also going far away. So what I'm going to say is that relationship was charted. Now, depends on how into all this you are. Sometimes we might get into, why was this charted? Why was this charted? I haven't even looked into that particular one. Why? Because I didn't even know this was going to come up today until I was drinking my coffee, putting on my makeup, choosing my outfit that we're going to talk about because it has significance. And then my guides are like, oh, you should mention that experience in your senior year of college. And I'm like, oh, wow, I haven't thought about that in years. There's another synchronicity. And that one might be a little hard to apply to your own life if you're not talking to spirits in your head all day like I am. But some of you are, and that's what's really cool about all this. So, and then I'm going to get to what I'm wearing here because I'm also going to talk to you all about some synchronicities throughout my life and my career, and they overlap a lot. So I'm wearing 2 fitnessy shirts here, but they almost look more office-y like this. Like this is like a fitness jacket, and this has like meshing. And I did this because when I wear this one by itself, my shoulders get cold because of this meshing. So I put the fitness jacket underneath, and then my friend Jen sent me this. And she's really knowledgeable about crystals and different materials and the colors here and right near the heart chakra to help balance that. So I'm wearing these things that really are important to me, special to me, and represent what I do and the work I'm passionate about because I'm also a fitness professional. I'm going to point out another synchronicity that just ding, ding, ding. I just happened to watch Module 7 last night of my beautiful friend Abigail Thurston's Empath course, which I highly recommend to all of you. It's so good for clearing out your energy field and strengthening your energetic boundaries. I've learned a lot from it. And I mean, I'm learning so much from this course after keep in mind 1 year of private lessons with Abigail. I'm still learning. Anyway, there was a lesson on pendants, about how a pendant can really help you shield from just icky energy of other people, just so that you don't, if you're sensitive like I am, so you don't pick up on other people's stress, so you don't kind of internalize it, because that's what empaths can do without realizing it. And so this isn't exactly a pendant, but it's a similar size, and it's just above near the heart. So there's another synchronicity, ding, 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 that I didn't even notice till now. Now, is some of this just a coincidence? Maybe. But the more you practice noticing signs in synchronicity, you're going to know what synchronicity is. So getting into my career, 26 years old, 2006, I decided I wanted to be a personal trainer. I had worked with a personal trainer and lost 30 pounds and found this life-changing. Wanted to help other people do this. And so I started doing this. And I was very successful at it, still am, as a matter of fact. But successful, when we want to measure that in terms of, I became a full-time personal trainer, making a full-time living doing that. And personal training doesn't require the coach to physically go through every workout at the intensity the client is doing, which is good, because when we're talking about training 20 to 40 people a week, that's a lot more exercise than any of us need or really should be doing, intense exercise. So personal training I was on my feet, but it wasn't intensely physically demanding at all. It was really about training the other person. I started this job 1 year before my daughter was born. Now, pregnancy, what I learned through experience, what pregnancy is in the body, I used to explain to people, it's the equivalent of doing light to moderate walking all the time, and I'm talking about what's happening with the heart and lungs, the cardiovascular system, and wearing a weighted vest. And that weighted vest is getting a little heavier after like the 3rd to 5th month when the belly's showing. So that's what pregnancy is metabolically, in other ways, but as far as it's like exercise. And so here I was, just really early in my career as a fitness professional, going through 2 pregnancies. My kids are 2.5 years apart. The subsequent recovery, breastfeeding. So the physical demands of child rearing were high in the early part of my career when I had charted, and I'm saying life charted, to be working as a one-on-one fitness coach, which is active, but it's not intense. It doesn't have to be intensely physically demanding, which was what I needed. I'm going to go even further. Again, did I think about all this at the time? No. But it's after time when we notice synchronicities and I'm like, oh, this all fits like a puzzle. So I also, when I started teaching group exercise, it was Pilates. There was a Pilates studio no longer there, but really close to both my house and my work. I mean, we're talking less than 10 minutes away from both. Excellent, top-notch instructor. Her teaching style was so similar to mine. Now that I know Pilates, if I go to another instructor who has a different style, it still works for me. Wouldn't have worked for me then. It was this instructor at this location at this time that I was able to learn from as a beginner, and learned how to teach group exercise without having to demonstrate the Pilates. That's what I did for years. There were times that I would go in sleep deprived and just wiped from having to carry my kid all night, right? Physically tired. And I could teach without having to move a muscle by verbally cueing people, going around and correcting them. I could teach a big class. I can still do it. I still do it sometimes. So it is only in the last a couple of years that I've gotten into teaching classes that I physically go through an intense workout with the clients. Why? It's because of what I've learned over time. It's the way things have gone. And my guides pointed out to me, look, none of this was a coincidence, Heather. Your chart was specifically designed so that you were going to be working in fitness where the physical demands were light, when the physical demands were high with your children. Now that the physical demands are less with my children, I'm up there working out hard, sweating with my clients several hours a week, teaching group exercise. And another synchronicity my guides had pointed out to me, I started at one gym in 2006 as an individual fitness coach. As I developed as a professional and as that business took a certain direction, because businesses are not fixed, right? Businesses are always traveling in a certain direction. that gym and I, that gym where I started in '06, we were in alignment, co-creating beautifully. That's how I was able to be full-time. So it means I was making great money. I was contributing a lot, money and otherwise, to the company at the time. Well, over time, people develop. I developed a specialty in mind body, yoga, Pilates, corrective exercise, the older population. Over time, that particular gym and company were taking a little different direction. That gym that was closest to me from the old company, they were focusing on a different demographic. They didn't have as many of that older population and the people that were looking for more of the gentle exercise. I was out of the gym environment for a couple of years. So I want to describe that too. All right, so I started at this process of a divorce, okay? And we didn't know what was going to happen. I knew it was time to move on from the gym I had been for about close to 10 years. It was just time to move on. That business was taking a different direction. My career was going one direction. I had all these ideas. That wasn't the place for them to really expand. I was very successful there 2 hours a week teaching Pilates, right? But I knew that I would need more at that point, especially getting divorced. Needed to make more money. So I was like, okay. So I moved on from that particular gym. And over time, these skills as an intuitive medium had been opening. I would come up for meditation with messages from dead people for myself and for people around me. And I was like, ooh. And I just was kind of exploring it and allowing it. It wasn't until people started coming to me from support groups I was in the beginning, just to find like-minded people, because I didn't know anyone else at that time who was psychic. And I'm talking about, this was starting in about 2012. I didn't understand what was going on. So I joined these groups just to find like-minded people. And so I could understand and process what was happening to me, why I was, I'd be driving in the car, and all of a sudden I'd get this memory. I'm like, ooh, I lived in England last life. I was born in 1846. Ooh, boy, how about that? Like, hey, nifty. And I was like, okay, I want to make sure I'm not crazy here, because I did question this a bit, as anyone would. And I found other people who remembered their past lives, who talked to dead people, who would get premonitions about the future and that kind of thing. So I did find these other psychics. And this was just to understand what was going on. I just wanted to understand the changes I was going through as a person. And that when people from some of these groups started coming to me saying, I want to get a reading with you, how much is your price? And I was like, oh, okay. And then for a couple of years, I was like, wait a minute, I'm a fitness professional or a medium? Well, it turns out I'm both. All charted. So yeah, our careers are charted. Mm-hmm. Pay attention to how you feel, not what you should do. That's what I'm saying about synchronicity, because you'll start noticing signs of what's really right for you. My mind for a little bit doubted that I can be both and be really kick-ass at both. But my heart never did. And there were all these signs that this was what I was meant to be doing. And so the other part of the chart, my own chart that I want to mention, is that just about, I want to say this is about a year and a half after my divorce started. And I had moved on from the other gym. There just wasn't at that time any room for growth. I was getting out there and I was experiencing success as an intuitive medium. It was still early. Well, then my daughter, who has severe mental and behavioral special needs, was going in through a crisis. She was having a lot of problems at school, like a violent, aggressive behavior, couldn't stay in her current school situation. Oh, joy. She was already in a special ed classroom. The district is like, well, we're going to have to put her on home placement, home all day with a difficult child, divorced, single parent. And we're going to find an out-of-district self-contained special ed school for her. I said, fantastic. They didn't mention it was going to end up taking 7 months. Yeah, it was great. So here's the thing. As anyone would, I was like, why? And this is what my spirit guides said to me. They said, this has happened to slow you down, Heather, and to bump you to the right path. And I'm going to tell you where Nadia's school situation, timing, and resolution bumped me, and it was back into the gym environment, and now I'm at ABC. That is where that bumped me. And I'm going to tell you, there were so many signs. I went running in the woods. I thought, I miss being in the gym. This was the fall after Nadia settled into her new school after having been home for almost a whole academic year. I was like, I miss being in a gym. I really miss teaching group exercise. Well, what kind of job, the medium work is going well, but I feel like I want to do something else. I want to get out there, and I want to get out of the house more often. Okay. Well, with my kids' school schedule, let me find out if there's a gym that would have me come teach a couple classes during the day. ABC called me back the same week. Get over there and I find, wow, these folks are really looking for more core work and more gentle exercise, and they've got a senior population, all the demographics I work with. So there are these synchronicities. I look at their schedule, they've got a few openings, times that are exactly perfect for me. Synchronicity. Coincidence? Yeah. And some people would say, are these just facts that make things line up? Yeah, maybe. A lot of it's synchronistic. Because after I made the decision to take this job, my spirit guide said, well, what they showed me during meditation was a star map. And they're like, look at that point. There's ABC charted. I don't know how many Earth years ago, before I even came into body. So I want to talk to you a little about co-creation. And so noticing these little synchronicities. A lot of mine is, college. Might be interesting to date someone younger. Or running in the woods. I miss working in a gym. And then if you get those little urgings and then something starts to happen pretty quickly, that's synchronistic, everyone. And that's a sign that you're manifesting correctly. I mean, I'm not going to say there's a wrong way to manifest, but you're manifesting effectively. And I like to say that manifestation is also co-creation. Okay, what's co-creation? I think of it this way in terms of my employment. I've had these views and values for years about exercise should build your body. It should fix, because most of us have some posture issues. I mean, my shoulders tend to hike up. So I'm going to do exercises that are going to help open my chest, get my shoulders back into place. I've always had this view that exercise should be beneficial. Should it be a workout? Yeah, but we shouldn't be barely able to walk. No. It's supposed to empower us, make us better, improve us. Yeah, I've always had these views. So what I do is I said, okay, this gym, there's a lot of people that want that kind of exercise. So what did I do? I was able to find a place that was in line with my values, where people wanted what I had and they have what I want too. Why is that? Well, because I'm here to help people improve their health and have fun doing it. That's one of the things I'm here to do. They've got a lot of people there at the gym. They had a lot of people that need and want the kind of exercise I can give them. Co-creation. And I think Gabrielle had shared, I dropped my pen, this new job is just so fulfilling. That's a sign, everyone. Whether you're self-employed or you're employed and you work somewhere else, co-creation, energy exchange. What is your employer giving you? And it's not just money. What are you giving them? If it feels good and you're happy like I am, and you go into work laughing and smiling, and my boss is there like grin when I come in, and my clients, that's how work should be. I'm not going to say it doesn't get stressful, but I get fluttery and happy and excited every day about going to work. It's not a chore to go to work. Yay. Co-creation. That's a sign that we are co-creating with the universe. We're in flow. And one more quick example of synchronicity. I started getting these urges to do personal training, which I do have a couple clients at my home studio, but I wanted to personal train in a gym again. I was like, I miss this. I miss it. It's in my blood. It's been years since I've done this. The gym, they said, you know what? We'd like to bring you on here. Synchronicity, flow, everyone. So before we wrap up, what I want to do is I want to help you look at some ways, how can you notice synchronicity in your life and get into maybe an even improved state of flow and co-creation. Because I'm going to tell you all, when we get into flow and we're co-creating, life feels a lot easier. What I'm saying is we don't make life any harder than it needs to be, because life is hard at times, right? Meditate more, which I need to do. I'm going to be the first to admit it. Meditate more, guided meditations, whatever it is you need to work on. Like if you want to get more connected with your spirit guides or your animal guides, there's a meditation for that. especially on YouTube. I've got some on my website too, especially the chakras. I've got one for all 7 of the chakras on the website, strengthontherun.com. And so a lot of meditation is going to help get us to our deeper knowing self that really knows what's right, because our human mind is always going to doubt and question and get all scared and freak out and all those kind of things when it comes to making decisions, especially if you, like me, are prone to anxiety, which I say we embrace it. I say we embrace if we've got anxiety. I don't care what it is, depression, bipolar. You got to love it. You have to own it. You have to love it. And that's how you're going to heal it. Not by pushing it away, not by resisting it, not by hiding it or being ashamed of it. No, we have to love it, embrace it, and accept it as part of ourselves and transmute it. Okay, so another thing to do is just notice these little signs, everyone. And it can be other things too, such as, I'm going to give an example. Maybe I have indeed lately been thinking of the colors kind of amber and orange. I've been noticing them more around me, even more this week than many other times. And sure enough, just yesterday, this came in the mail from my friend Jen. It's a birthday present, got here a little early. So there's another little synchronicity, and there's lots of them. We could probably think of lots of examples. Just things that seem like a coincidence that, in fact, are not. So if you like this video and this resonated, I really would just love to hear about synchronicities that are coming up for you. One yesterday, I had the card we drew, and the message from Spirit was encouraging us to notice magic in our everyday lives. And Jessica Light had shared this beautiful story about noticing, I think it was a hawk, Jessica, or it might have been a different kind of bird, and just the meaning of that. There's a synchronicity right there. So eager to hear your stories of synchronicity, co-creation, manifestation, and flow. PM anytime, reach out, post on the page. Just keep the dialogue going, because it's so awesome when we're all connected to Spirit. Yeah, so strengthontherun.com is the website. Hop on the newsletter, because a lot of really awesome stuff has been coming through. And when I say coming through, I mean messages from Spirit. When I'm typing up that newsletter, it's great. Like I'll have a topic planned, but stuff will just come out that I didn't even expect. Little messages that are probably for all of us. So yay, hop on the email newsletter. There's always surprises in there. And the blog at strengthontherun.com. Everyone have an awesome Friday and weekend. I almost forgot to draw the cards, which I wanted to show you as an example of synchronicity and co-creation. The number 2 is coming through. This is with our Angel Tarot deck, and it flies. And this is co-creation. It's even easier for me to choose the cards when I'm talking to all of you. We're going to have one from the suit of Earth and one from the suit of Water. Earth deals with our practical, physically earthly, both, I guess. So this is our suit of Earth. It's going to be in the middle. And again, I just felt a pull from my gut. And those of you that are able to see energy, notice how I can feel it. Some mediums get a little freaked out by that. I try to just let it flow. It's this card right here. This is going to be card number 2. And that's just a little tug from the gut of, where it's going to be ordered in our reading. I just totally trust Spirit, and that's the other thing, is that feeling of trust and being safe, and funny that I say that when we're dealing with the suit of Water right here. Just being able to kind of sink into the pool, It's a good analogy when we meditate. It's got to be through at least one of you. There we are, card number 1 from the suit of Water, from our traditional tarot deck. And then we're going to have one card from the Akashic Tarot that is actually going to be drawn off camera. Why? I don't know. It's just a tug from the gut. So we have cards 1 and 2, I think we said. The third card will be drawn, will be posted Saturday morning. And thank you all so much for being a part of this. I really do look forward to your comments, your PMs. Happy Friday, everyone. Namaste. Connect with your angels.